For those of you who are familiar with our channel, been watching for a while, welcome back. For all of our new people, welcome to the channel as well. Feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you. I am out today. I am on a rather unique mission. My name is Leo, by the way, for those of you who don't know. And my wife and I, we do stories around southern West Virginia, eastern Kentucky. We find interesting. And today I've got a very interesting one for you guys, I do believe. I was out doing another story yesterday and came up in the Mustang. Anyway, got up there after I finished my other story. I get up there. It's a little place called Rawl Holler. Yes, Rawl Holler. This is right down here. I'm on a trail, obviously, right down here. I figured it'd be peaceful here, be quiet. Forgotten Drive, and right behind it is Happy Hill. Who don't want to live on Happy Hill? Come on, really. Anyway, I came up yesterday in the Mustang, and I'm fairly familiar with the area. I've rode this trail, and, I'm pretty familiar with the area. Anyway, I got to talking to a few of the locals, and, just asking about this old cemetery and, what they knew. I knew a couple people on the holler, and I stopped by Ricky, one of them, Ricky, and talked to him, and a buddy of his there, and talked to a couple other people too on the holler. And I believe, I'm 99% sure that I have found this old graveyard. And what's unique about this is there's actually at least 2, possibly 3 old graveyards up there, some older than others, obviously. One of them, the area, this is coal mining country. If you've been watching the channel, you know about West Virginia a little bit anyway. This is coal mining country. And a lot of the places, when they brought people in during, the big coal boom, when you had the coal barons and all that, with the mine script and, just robbing people, basically. They would bring people in, and, you were assigned company housing. And they just gave you that, you're in house number 12. And, that's where you're at. You're in house number 12. Simple as that. But there were places. There was one up by Mate 1 called Little Italy Camp that had a lot of, a high concentration of Italian descendants that lived in Little Italy Camp. This one up here, I don't know how true it is. We'll find out when we do the research phase, when Heather, actually gets a hold of this video and goes through the research phase. But I was told yesterday that this holler, that Raw Holler, back during this time period in question, was an African American community, and there is an entire African American cemetery back there on the hill. Once we get up to this old graveyard, to see exactly who's there, and for all we know, there could be historical characters. You never know who you're going to meet in a graveyard. You never know. That's the thing about it. You see, when people, once they're gone, their story's written. You and I, it's not. We're still writing that story. It's not been finished yet. So their stories, they have a beginning, they have a middle, and they have an end. Ours don't. This should be a really, really cool exploration video and take you guys out into some really beautiful countryside, back into the mountains, and show you some really pretty scenery. Okay, GoPro battery's about 70%. Got a couple spares. We should be ready to go. Should be more than sufficient to show you where we're going. Show you what we need to show you for now. It looked like on satellite, it looked like several cemeteries spread out over a pretty large area. And there's a ridge line, and it seems to follow the ridge line. This here's Forbidden Drive, and there's Happy Hill. Used to be, the coal mines were right back up in there, and there was another one right over here on Raw Holler where we're going. We don't have very far to go, just maybe a minute, if that. We'll get on down there. Route 49, here the highway. so noisy. Can't tell if that flat has any graves on it. It looks like that one does. This should be a really big one up here. I see graves. I see one right there. All right. We apparently have found it. Whether the graves in question are here or not, like I said, remains to be seen. But we're about to find out. And while we're here, I'll go ahead and document everybody else. I'm thinking the older section goes down this way. Okay, we are here. We have found it. Where to start, where to start, where to start. Alright, I'm going to get my cell phone out real quick and load up Google Earth and kind of get my bearings. I'm thinking the older section, I'm thinking there's an older one down this way, but you can see there are several plots. Like here, there's one, little fenced in areas. Here, there, back there. I see a whole bunch of them. Over here's one. Any one of them. Okay, looks like I've got my bounds kind of set. That appears to be the older section, and that in theory would be the newer section. So I guess there's only one thing left to do. Time to go to work, isn't it? I figure we'll just start down on this way because this end dead ends. I'm going to keep an eye on the ground too. It is still that time of year. This one's meadows. Let's see, none on this side. These are empty. I like it. Living eternally in the hearts of loved ones. Marla D. Fouch, 1953 to 2003. Maggie Meadows, 1922 to 1994. And close gates back too. Melina Lee Dillon. I like that name. Oh, 1952 to 1952. January 19th to the 21st. Goldie Mann. Diamond. February 22nd, 1947 to June 9th, 1947. These are children. This is a little children's section. Estafet Diamond. February 22nd, 1947 to June 7th, 1947. Just long enough to get attached. Jack Diamond. April 1st, 1913 to January 17th, 1966. Looks like that one's been opened a while, does it? Presumably a lot of these people haven't had their names spoken out loud in decades. Orby Harden. Look at this. Private 340th Infantry 85th Division, World War I, 1894 to 1945. And you notice that date. Well, no, that would be World War II. He would have He lived through World War I and died just after the end of World War II. He saw some fighting in his life, didn't he? This is a Hardin as well. Carrie Stella Hardin, 1904, 1964. I don't see any down that way. I see one right here and 3 here. These are children too. All of these. Let's see that one. Almost missed it. World War II vet. Harold Ray Hardin, West Virginia, Private Battery A, 795th AAA, I'm guessing Air Wing Battalion, CAC. That I'm not sure about, the CAC. 1925 to 1972. And here's 3 children, 3 children. Jimmy Walter Hardin, 1934 to 1936, 2 years old. Somebody's brought across that. That's not that old. There's another one. It's just... Danny Ray Hardin, 1948 to 1948. August 30 to August 30, same day. Cecil Clyde Hardin, 1958 to 1958. July 9th to November 23rd. Those little lambs on top usually signify children. I've seen a few adults use those, but mostly children. Rosa Mary Hardin, July 10th, 1928 to May 9th, 1992. Cecil Clyde Hardin, 1926 to 2001. And the last one I see in this plot, Mary Helen Gregory, June 25th, 1948 till July 29th, 1922. That's all I see in this plot. Strange, isn't it? You hear that saying that it ain't the dates that matters, it's the dash in between. I mean, I've said that before. I've heard people tell me that before. It's kind of true, isn't it? That little dash, you know, signifies that one little brief moment that you were actually on this planet and got to play, you know, got to do things. So I guess you don't really think about stuff like that when you're young, do you? It's something that you kind of grow into. Look at that. Wow. Okay, nothing. Don't see any over the hill. Samuel Simon, 1931 to 1938. George Simon, S-I-M-O-A, no, M-O-N, it is an N, okay, 1955 to 1927. It's got to be hard to say. Can't really tell what that is. Oh no, the base, the 3 got filled in. I see now, it makes more sense now. Elizabeth V. Simon, 1910 to 1940. John Simon, 1889 to 1962. There's a lot of them. Now this one is tied up. Let's see. I don't want to untie their knot if they... There's a rope with a big knot in it. Well, let's see. Is it a slip knot? A slip knot would indicate, you know, you slip it. But I'll be sure to put this back. Make sure I tie it up real good. Just enough. Stay. Stay. This is Rachel Carey, 1912 to 2006. Navy vet, Chester Kermit Carey, S1 U.S. Navy, World War II, 1909 to 1988. It was a very interesting time to be alive, wasn't it? He saw us go from horse and buggy to the moon. Interesting time period to live in. Elise Carey, 1920 to 1947. Young lady. Roxana Roxy Clark Jervis, 1856 to 1917. There's an older one. Son of Andrew Murphy and Judith Rutherford Johnson Murphy, August 31st, 1847 to August 17th, 1896. Some old ones here, aren't there? Daughter of Samuel Varney and Mary Shannon Jane Varney, October 1st, 1860 to September 11th, 1931. It's a big graveyard, isn't it? I'm going to be here a while today. Edward Murphy. Oh, okay. Murphy, Edward and Josephine. Infants. Oh, I see. 1927, 1922. It's 2 infants. Look at that. How short that grave is. Maud C. Murphy, 1891, 1936. There's another one like those. There's 2 more of those. 3 more of those. Daughter of Johnson Murphy, Mary Murphy Pigman, February 11th, 1885 to November 7th, 1976. Now I think this was one of the old Sears headstones that you could order from Sears. I'm not sure, but I do believe this is one of them. This is Florence Juanita Pigman, 1925 to 1937. The little roll right here kind of gives it away. They did that on a lot of them. You could actually order them from Sears Roebuck catalog. There were houses from them too back then. Son of Hiram Pigman, James Monroe Pigman, September 28th, 1882 to July 20th, 1961. Kind of hard to keep your bearings. All this stuff, that's why you gotta cheat every now and then. Paul G. Pigman, 1907 to 1982. Martha Jean Pigman, 1914 1987. Look at this one. This is an older one too. Carey, Edna Carey, 1887. There's no death date. And Tom Carey, 1884 to 1963. See houses down in the valley on the back side of the hill. Oh, Alola, A-L-O-L-A. I thought it was an H. Alola M. Stacy. How pretty is that? 1896 to 1976. Okay. Michael Eugene and MJP. That one just says MJP there. And this one is Michael Eugene Pigman. 2 days old. June 22nd, 54 to June 24th, 54. 2 days old. Alright, and that's the last of these. Let's see, I did get that. Yeah. Alright. Now, put this puppy back exactly the way we found it. Well, I got back up here and went to cool my camera down. It started to overheat on me. Got to where I could barely hold it. And this gentleman showed up. This is Bill. He lives here. He lives right over the hill here. Right down over the hill. And he was telling me some very interesting stuff about this old cemetery. And apparently this is, his wife is right over here. And his cousin is right here, was killed by a train. And he just was up through here, just kind of curious to see, you know, who was up here and what we were doing, that kind of thing. Let's see. Look at that one. There's a military right there. Look at that view. Just look at the scenery up here. Other than the power poles. Beautiful old place, isn't it? Back on the mountainside, just tucked away. This is Gertie Anderson, 1913, 2003. Well, this one just has a cross. That could be Gertie's. James Edward Anderson, SP4 U.S. Army, 1961 to 2003. And somebody's taking really good care. You know, they've got flags out. Let's put that back over there. There we go. Alright. Look at that, Granny. It says Granny Alice Witt, 1888 to 1983. Granny Alice Witt. There's something here. There's a double, or at least one. Could be a double. Looks like it. And here, and here. But no markers for those. This one's got brick around it. L-U-E, Lou Emma Anderson, 1926 to 1985. See you later. Thanks for the information. Appreciate you. Grace Petros, 1903 to 1995. Okay, I see two over in the brush. Roy F. Chafin, 1958 to 2014. Into the brush. This one's a vet. Hang on. Get in here. Orville Meadows, Private, U.S. Army, 1917, 1989. And we got one over here in the brush too. Plus the path goes around this one. This is Faith Collins, 1941 to 2007. Alright, we'll look out here since we're right here already. Okay, I don't see anything. I see a mound right there that looks suspicious, but no stones. Okay, gate is over there. See, here's one here and there. Okay, that one has a plate. Roy Caraway, 1901 to 1964. And you can see there's several more. And here's the gate to this one. Extra weedy. You got to pay close attention to the ground. The slightest little movement should get your attention. Ella Mae Elkins, 1946. There's no death date. Russell Jr. Elkins, 1946-2007. Alright. We'll stay on the right side. Go up and then do the left side coming down. Okay, that's just a space in between. Pretty big place. I figured it was fairly large just from the way it looked on satellite. Looks like O-N-S-E-L-E-E. I'm not sure how you'd pronounce that. Lee Harris, 1934 to 1994. Chapman, Tech 5 U.S. Army, World War II, 1908 to 1981. Hattie P. Chapman, 1908 to 1980. Sick family plot, that's why. Okay. That. There we go. This is Daniel Walter Sick, S-Y-C-K. Just says November 15th, 1980. Boyd W. Sick, 1920 to 1990. And Tricia Sick, 1927 to 2007. And here says father, Daniel H. Cooper. I only found the one DOS so far. And it was down on this lower end. Now this is Mr. Miller's cousin here. I told him what I was doing, and you know, for future generations and all this stuff, you know, and he was supportive of what I was doing, you know, our little project and everything, but somehow it just seemed a little bit disrespectful, you know, to document his cousin and his wife when he was sitting right here. So, you know, I just thought it would be a little bit more respectful, you know, to do these two afterwards. This is Dan Henry Cooper II, 1964 to 1983. And Mr. Miller was saying that he got hit by a train not far from here up Merrimack in 1983. Now this is his wife, Peggy, and Mr. Miller's spot is right beside of her. He was telling me his spot is right there. This is Peggy Sue Miller, 1966 to 2021. This is John France, SF2 U.S. Navy, World War II, 1900 to 1988. Like the last few up here. This one is Terry Sue Vest, V-E-S-T. Tabitha Marie Holbrook, 1983 to 2007. Ruth M. Klein Hicks, 1943 to 2015. Edward, there's no last name. There's a big V, no, an M. Edward, 1878, 1965, and Octavia, 1886, no death date. It says 19 something, and the rest is left blank. So I'm not sure. There's a big M right there, but I don't know what the last name is. There's a plate, maybe that's one of them. Edward Milam, M-I-L-A-M, 1878 to 1965. Yep, that's him. So it was Milam. Samuel Ivan Milam, U.S. Army, World War II, 1917-1989. one says Dad. Hetty Jane Milam, 1920 to 2001. Ivan Milam Jr. What? Okay. 1941 to 2014. Jimmy Milam, 1948 to 2015. I'm guessing this one's a child. There's a toy on it. Binky Milam, 1979 to 2014. Apparently he just liked ATVs. I can get it. I can relate to that. Chris Milam Jr., 1997, 2016. Young.